Okay, everyone, there's a huge problem brewing, and it has to do with the farmers and our food industry. Food shortages, major nitrogen issues, and it's going to hit us hard in the second growing season of next year in a big way. We already know the issue is there. It's just a matter of time before it unfolding. In fact, the UN has warned this could cause global famine. In a time we're already seeing issues with diesel, food shortages, supply chain issues, inflation. Did you know that 1 out of 5 people are already skipping meals because food is too expensive? I've got a really good report I want to go over with you guys. It's a report that's going to make you want to strap down a little bit tighter and make sure you got your food preps in order. Good information I think you should know coming right up. Welcome back to all the subscribers. If you guys are brand new here, like news that affects you, prepping tips, emergency preparedness how-tos weekly, be sure to hit that notification bell so you guys can stay up to date. Let's jump into this one. So like I told you guys in an earlier video, it's not always about whether we have what we need here at home. The problem is we're selling off everything that we have to the highest bidder, which means we're not keeping enough for ourselves because there's money to be made because there's high prices being paid right now. You might think, well, that's selling out America. And that's what's happening. So let's go over this report by Natural News. I think it's a really good one. The second half has to do with food shortages being a growing concern, to the point where the UN is making announcements, the warning of global famine due to this situation. So this report from Natural News is titled, "Rising U.S. Nitrogen Exports to Europe Create Domestic Scarcity for American Farmers." The sharp increase in U.S. nitrogen exports to address Europe's fertilizer shortage could have a big impact on American farmers and end up creating a shortage here at home, experts are warning. When the surging prices for natural gas in Europe pushed the prices of producing nitrogen for fertilizer there through the roof this summer, American exports jumped. With Russia still under financial sanctions, Europe has found itself without a major producer of natural gas and fertilizer. Well, it's almost like we knew that was coming, right? As a result of these tight fertilizer supplies, crop nutrient prices have climbed so much around the world that the United Nations has warned there could be a future crisis of availability. Some companies in Europe have already closed their fertilizer plants as a result of the high prices. And like I said, this is a much bigger deal than people know about. Total exports from the U.S. at the end of August reached 370,000 short tons of nutrient, which was more than twice the total recorded at the same time last year and was the highest monthly total since the Fertilizer Institute started tracking this data in 2013, which means we're getting rid of our own supply. As a result, European buyers have been outbidding domestic buyers in the U.S. and several other exporting countries, such as Malaysia and Indonesia. The surge in exports doesn't seem to be affecting supply so far, with the American nitrogen fertilizer supply reportedly at its second highest level in the last decade in June. But the projection of what's coming is much worse. And this goes along with all of the complacent people, the people that are walking around blind, because everything seems fine and dandy right now. No up-in-your-face crisis, so there's nothing to worry about. But there's a big thing to worry about. Figures for July and August aren't yet available, but the U.S. historically being a smaller exporter, it is reasonable to expect American farmers to struggle to obtain fertilizer should the trend continue. And the trend is likely to continue because there is no resolve in sight. Let's check out what this farmer has to say. Iowa farmer Dave Nelson told Reuters that his fertilizer costs have gone from $350 per ton 2 years ago to $1,280 a ton this year. He said that he decided to lock in that price this fall to facilitate his budget calculations for next year. Nelson, who grows soybeans and corn, said, "I might as well do it because the price is only going to go higher. If you start skimping on fertilizer, you just end up hurting yourself in the end." And sadly, that's what a lot of these farmers are having to do. They're having to spend the extra money, which they don't have, because the fortunes are going to be short-lived. These farmers are really put in a difficult position right now. They are being dealt a very tricky hand that they really don't know what to do. France, Norway, Lithuania, and Belgium are the countries that have noted the biggest year-over-year rises in American fertilizer purchases. But it's not just Europe that's increasing its buying. It's Chile, Brazil, Morocco have also notched up some big increases. So to go along with the great work of our current administration, they're going to sell everything we got at high prices. So what do they say about the food shortages being a huge concern? Although nitrogen prices eased slightly in the EU earlier this month as natural gas prices started to let up a little bit, European farmers have struggled to stock up enough fertilizer to prepare for the planting season next spring on the account of a tight supply and higher prices. And here's where it's going to hit home. Therefore, it is expected to be the second growing season in which farmers will produce less food. This comes at a time where there's already a food shortage that is becoming so severe that the UN has warned it could cause a major global famine. Projections from the UN about global famine, not a good thing to hear. Li Quinyan of China Institute of International Studies explained all countries in South Asia are developing countries. Agriculture is a major driver in their economies, and fertilizer has been a necessity to guarantee crop yields. Without fertilizers, they can hardly feed themselves. And that's what I'm saying. This is such a pivotal part of our world food situation. The number of people who are affected by hunger around the world hit 828 million last year, a rise of 150 million from the beginning of the pandemic. Soaring food prices, regional conflicts, international tensions, and extreme weather are all contributing to global food security issues. And we've seen a lot of news on all that. Food insecurity is already impacting Americans. A recent survey found that nearly 1 in 5 Americans have skipped meals or not bought groceries as a result of high inflation, while 2 in 5,000 people have received food from a food bank in the past year. It's a growing concern. Things are getting much worse. So to sum this up, what they're saying is these fertilizers, they're available now at crazy high prices. Those farmers who can afford them are stocking up now at these crazy inflated prices. And those farmers that are prepping for next year, most of them only have enough money to do it for the first growing season. Don't have enough money to stock up for the second growing season. So these analysts are predicting at the second crop of next year, it could get pretty catastrophic. So like I said, there's a lot of crazy news out there. But the fact of the matter that we're selling off the fertilizers that we do have because they can make a ton of money right now off highest bidders with all these other countries in desperate situations of needing the fertilizer, we're going to end up selling off all of our supply. So with all that said, guys, it's time to ramp up your food preps. Time to get that prepping pantry stocked up. You know the saying, stack it to the rafters. Because there's a lot of things that could happen between now and then, but we don't have a solution for when that hits. So that's a pretty good timeline for you guys to bank on, expecting it to get worse most likely. So leave me some comments down below. Let me know if there's something that you know that I didn't mention or you want to share to the community. Please share this out to your community. Get the word out, guys, because this is some pretty sound information and it gives you kind of a timeline on how long you've got to get your prepping in order. With that said, keep prepping, keep learning, keep doing, guys. We'll see you on the next one.